Hey Tony, it's Friday, and first I have to answer your question of the week. I've actually been pretty impressed with how Massachusetts has handled COVID so far. Charlie Baker's done a pretty good job about it. He hasn't been perfect, but we haven't been impacted as much as other states have, particularly like New York and places like that. Now, granted, we have a lower population, but all in all, I've been pretty impressed with how Charlie Baker's handled it. So I don't really have a whole lot to talk about this week because just like in the past I think it's been a month and a half now. Not much has happened other than just staying at home, trying to maintain social distancing, trying to flatten the curve, trying to do what we can to combat COVID. Like I honestly, I've lost track of days. I've lost track of like what day of the week it is. I've lost track of how long we've been in quarantine because it's just been a constant thing that we've just had to deal with. It kind of shocked me today to find out that today is actually April 17th. I thought it was like April 12th or earlier because although March felt like it dragged on forever, April feels like it really hasn't. April's been going remarkably quick. And I don't know if that how much of that is to do with just the fact that there's no end in sight for the lockdown, in which it's all just flowing together, flowing one day into the next. And it's been a challenge to really kind of try and keep my bearings. Like I think I had to go out a couple times this week to go shopping and things like that, but I couldn't tell you how long ago each one was. I know I've often made the joke that time is an illusion, but it the lockdown has really made me realize that yeah, time is absolutely meaningless because when you've lost track of the days, lost track of your routine, you blink and next thing you know, it's 2.5 weeks later, or you blink and next thing you know, it's a singular day later, and it all is about the perspective. Now, I've tried to do a little bit more this week as far as trying to not so much keep myself in a routine because there's not a really good way for me to make a routine right now like I had before because like I know like my insomnia has been flaring up. Being stuck at home has made me not sleep as well because I'm not out doing things, and I've always been a go out and do things. I've never really been a let me sit here and do nothing, and that's been a challenge. It's that I think has probably been the most challenging part of the lockdown is that change in my behavior, in that massive change in my life. Because like before COVID and throughout this year, I've always been out running around almost every day of the week, and now I'm not. Now I usually try and go hiking a couple times a week. I might try and work out, but otherwise it's just been another day. I wake up and do whatever. And it's not necessarily how I like it because I like being busy. I like having a million and one different projects I'm working on because I don't like standing still. I've oftentimes kind of believed the thought of if you stand still, you die, just like how it is in nature. And I know it's not exactly accurate, but it's just the way my mind has always looked at things. Is I mean, let's even going back to middle school and high school, with everything I was involved in, my extracurriculars and things like that, and through undergrad and even in law school, when my primary focus was just school, I still was out trying to do a lot of things, and this has been a massive change. Like I can't honestly tell you the last time when I just kind of sat around for 2 months without doing something. And I mean, I might have been when I was a kid, when we were kids, but even then, I honestly can't tell you. And it's been rough. I mean, just thoroughly, it's been rough. Now, Massachusetts has started to kind of flatten our curve a little bit, which is good. But I watched a press conference from our governor, Charlie Baker, today. And what he said is we'll start removing lockdown procedures when the state has had 2 weeks of decreasing numbers of infected and things like that. So, I mean, the fact that we've started to stabilize a little bit, we started to plateau, is good, because it means that this is nowhere close to being over. I'm necessarily convinced that the worst is past, but it's at least progress. And that's something to celebrate and something to hopefully get set up here soon. And I'm really, really, really hoping that by the time June rolls around, or like middle of May, June, and beginning of June rolls around, I'm really hoping that things have started to normalize a little bit more, and we've started to get back. I don't want to go back to normal, because normal wasn't working, obviously, which is why we're in this lockdown procedure. But at least go back to a point in which the whole world wasn't ending. So, Tony, my question for you is, do you actually think that Ohio should reopen by May 1st? Tony, I'll see you on Wednesday. Later, bro.